Hi, welcome
Oh,
everybody. We have Lisa with us today. Um,
hi.
she is one of our contributing writers, and she is gracious enough to join us to talk about a post that she wrote last fall. Three easy ways to encourage imagination in kids. So we will talk about that in just a moment. But first, Lisa, do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. I'm Lisa. I am a homeschooling mom of three. I have a rising kindergartner, and then I have a rising second grader and one who's about to start fifth grade. So we stay busy a lot. You think homeschooling home, right? But we are not home a lot. So we are fortunate enough. I love living in Louisville where there's lots of places that we can do our school on the go and learn in a lot of different settings. So we have a lot of fun.
Yay. Awesome. Well, yeah. So you are going to read us a little bit from this post, right?
Yes,
Yes. Awesome. Okay. A lot of good info in here. So I'm just going to let you take it away.
sure. When our children are toddlers and preschool aged, a parent rarely needs to do anything to encourage imaginative play. They don't need to be taught how to become a unicorn or how to fight a giant. As kids get older, however, something changes. Playing pretend and using imagination becomes, as famed science fiction writer Ursula Le Guin put it, something that might be useful when the TV's out of order. So, how do we encourage our older elementary and middle school kids to continue to stretch their imagination muscles? As with a lot of parenting, the best course of action is to provide them with tools and then step out of the way. My oldest child is 9, and I can't pretend to be an expert in all things big kid yet, but these are some of the tools that our family finds essential to imagination exercise. Number one, wear costumes. Playing dress up's often something we think of as a game for small kids. However, the huge population of adult cosplayers around the world would beg to differ. Even big kids love to pretend they're other people. My oldest got a super cool Top Gun flight suit for his birthday, but I don't think he took off for 2 days. Number two, go outside. It may seem obvious, but it can't be overstated how important outdoor play is for a child's imagination. Everything in nature can be something else. Being outdoors is completely open ended play. If your backyards become somewhere the kids have explored as much as possible, take them somewhere new. We're fortunate enough to live in a city with so many different kinds of natural areas to explore. Number three, be involved. I know, I just said to get out of the way. And I did mean it, sort of. When they're off on an adventure, you should absolutely leave them to it. But if they're still struggling with creative thinking and imagination activities, it's okay to give them a little help. One of the most fun things to do with kids this age is to ask them what if and follow them where that question takes them. What would you do if we discovered our house was haunted? What would happen if you found our pet dog could talk? What's the craziest recipe you can think of? Hint. If you have a kid like mine, the more opportunity there is for the answer to be gross, the better they'll like it. Perhaps your kids are not like mine and they'll need different encouragement to reawaken their wonder in the world or to leave reality behind for a bit. The tools I listed are a lot less essential than our attitudes. Be flexible about mess when they're having an adventure. At this stage, they can generally be responsible for cleaning afterward, but don't worry about clutter while they create when they're inspired. Let them see how you use imaginative thinking as an adult. Do you daydream? Do you wonder? Talk about it. Lastly, point out other kids and adults who are creative. Creativity sometimes shows up in obvious ways, like cooking interesting meals or having an interesting fashion sense. Sometimes it's the seemingly dry family member who's an engineer that loves to find new ways to do old things. It might be new. They're tall tale telling grandpa. All of those require a strong imagination muscle and may help encourage older kids to remember that being creative isn't just for babies.
That is great. Where did you get some of your inspiration?
Well, we started this year, we started the 1,000 Hours Outdoors Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and being outside is one of those things. I'm kind of an indoorsy person.
Yeah.
And so things like arts and crafts and stuff like that come a lot easier to me than playing outside. And that was something that kind of just watching them, taking them out on a nature walk and just letting them loose. I started to really see how, just a stick can be anything. And each one of the kids, it would be something different. And then another, like with the costumes, there was a party store that closed not too far from our house. And I went while they were selling out all their Halloween costumes. And so I got Daniel that flight suit. I got Matthew several different masks, and then Hannah I think I got her some princess wands or something. And I always like dress up as a kid, and so it was one of those things. Sometimes you think of dress ups and costumes as just a certain time of the year, and then they fall apart, and then you just get rid of them. But costumes are something that really you can, turn into a bunch of different things. If it's a top hat, it might have come with a, magician's thing, but then you could do a history lesson with it or something, And
Yeah.
so, there's a lot of different things that sometimes we like to put in a box for this type of play or for this particular thing. And I just wanted to give people a reminder that, sometimes, don't put those fun items in a box, and you might be surprised that they can turn into lots of other things.
Yes. And so do you find that the going into kindergarten and then going into fifth grade, kids, they both engage with it equally, even if it's differently?
They do, but definitely in different ways. My oldest he may not do as much pretend in certain sort of fantasy ideas, but he does a lot of like acting like real people. So things like careers, um, or like history lessons that we've done. Um, he really likes military history, and so he'll go out and he'll be, you know, participating in the Revolutionary War with his stick. Where the other one is fighting a dragon. So it changes what to use the stick as an example. What the stick is might change, but it still doesn't take away the magic of the item. And they still find a lot of ways to have fun and use their imagination. And I think being able to independently read as they get older helps too. So if you have a kid that's maybe not, it doesn't come as easily to them to play imaginatively. You can sometimes use books as prompts too. Well, what are you reading right now? Like my oldest, he's just started reading Harry Potter.
Mhm.
So that's opened up a different world of fantasy that he hasn't really been interested in before. So where my other two are really big into kind of otherworldly fantasy play, that was never really something that came to him easily. But now Harry Potter, Narnia, that sort of thing, all of a sudden he's super interested. And so we might see him sort of go back to some of the things that his brother and sister are already interested in.
Oh, nice. How do you envision as they get older, getting into like middle school, teenage years, of still being able to encourage the imagination?
Well, there's a couple different things I know that have been helpful for us. So one of the things is making sure that when possible that your kids play with kids of a lot of different ages.
Mhm.
So if your kid is older, sometimes getting to play with the younger kids for a little bit and helping them.
Yes.
All of a sudden they realize, oh, this game was really kind of fun. I forgot how fun it was. And so instead of
Right.
being with the big kids where maybe it, isn't cool anymore, they realize,
Mhm.
well, maybe it is still fun. Who cares if it's cool? Um, but also being around older kids or adults who have a playful nature about them. My father-in-law, who is the tall tale telling
Yes.
grandpa, he is the first one to go out there and they'll play cowboys and chase each other. Um, my son that loves soldiers, my father-in-law or my father went out and bought a whole camo outfit so that they could go out in the woods and do like, you know, I don't know, some sort of game related to soldiers, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Um, so being willing as an adult to maybe get messy and get out there, well, if the gray-headed adult is out there doing it, you 13-year-old, I'm sure you can find something fun in this and can help.
Yeah.
Um, I that at least at this point, my oldest is only a preteen, so I haven't been through older yet, but definitely for him, those are things that help a lot.
Okay. Yeah, because my daughter's almost 13.
Okay.
And probably just in the last like 4 or 5 months, like 'cause she had a whole notebook and she would make her own comics and they had like unicorns in
Yes.
them and she was like writing all that. And so I asked her a couple of weeks ago, I was like, so what happened? Like, you haven't shown us any of your cartoons or any
Hmm.
of your stories lately. And she was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. And it's just like nothing is very cool unless it's like
Yeah.
a video game. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should
Well,
start
and there's
doing
a
drawing with her or something.
if that is an interest that you think that she's stifling because it doesn't seem cool, like the cartooning aspect,
Yeah.
there's tons of really cool cartoonists on YouTube. So that might
Oh,
be something, watching an artist and either maybe the subject of what she's drawing might change. Or she might find, what, this person's really cool and they still draw unicorns.
right.
Like if she's into kawaii or something like that, there's a lot of unicorn, cat, rainbow kind of stuff that's very cool. So,
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. And she's been all into anime and like
yeah.
watching
So
that stuff.
so that might be anime, kawaii, and there's tons of even the Art for Kids Hub, which is on YouTube.
Mm,
He does drawing videos for different ages and he has I think the oldest, I can't remember, I think it's his son that's oldest, and he's around that age. And the artist that does the lessons on there, his style is kind of a kawaii. So there might be some fun things. And
okay.
he may not be interested in the ones where he's doing it with the younger kids because they're more simplistic, but they get pretty involved and he's very cool. So something like that. A lot of times I think finding, if you can separate what is the thing that you're just not interested in anymore from, I'm not doing this because I'm afraid other people might think it's too babyish or whatever, then that can help, because, being a teenager is hard. We're figuring out, is it that I don't like this anymore? Or is it because I kind of have peer pressure? Or is it, I really don't care what you think because I think this is really fun,
Yeah.
you know? So, and, you know,
Yeah.
it takes time, I think. So,
Yeah, well, a couple of years ago, I instituted a mommy daughter night. I
mhm.
let her choose the night of the week, and so on Wednesday nights, she usually gets to, as long as like all of her chores have been done and during the school year, like her
Yeah,
grades are good, she gets to choose what she wants to do. She gets to choose what we
yeah,
eat. It gives my husband time to just be quiet by himself, and then
yeah,
we hang out. But I'm kind of wondering now if maybe I should direct it a little bit, because usually
yeah,
she's like, watch me game or like watch the show with me. But yeah, if we like put on YouTube or if I drew with her, maybe
yeah.
that would
I
encourage her more.
I know that, and I'm not very artistic when it comes to drawing and that sort of thing, but I know that Matthew, who loves art, he loves it when everybody sits down with him. Or, you could ask her if there's something she does still enjoy drawing. She could teach you, like give you a lesson.
Oh yeah. She
or
would love
maybe
it.
she could do, you could help her edit a video of a drawing lesson for,
Oh,
depending on how comfortable you are with her being on, social media or whatever. But that
yeah,
could be something that might be kind of fun for her to do, to be able to teach others, maybe. But
that's a good
I
idea.
would say definitely, I think definitely continue the mom daughter night thing. And I think that directing it maybe a little bit, but gearing toward those things that maybe you think that she's secretly stifling because they're not cool. You know, mom's
Yeah,
usually not cool anyway, so it
I
doesn't, she's not,
right.
this mom isn't very cool. So
Yeah, I'm
my
not
kids aren't real
cool.
worried about whether I think it's cool or not because they already know.
Yeah,
So they know they can be themselves, because I know. But that might be something that might be fun to do. Or you might find, do you think it's the art part of it or the interest in the cartooning, or what do you think about?
yeah. I mean, well, she's like always been very creative.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's just a combination of the pandemic and
Mhm.
doing like at home learning and then transitioning into like about to be a teenager now and
It's a
like
lot at that age too. Yeah. And that's
yeah.
confusing when you weren't around your friends and then they've changed and you've changed and trying to navigate with all that space in between. There's also, those, I don't know if y'all have done it, but the places where you go and you paint the same thing, um,
Oh,
like the sip and paint kind of place.
yeah.
Those are and that might feel kind of grown up to her too, you know,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
fancy mocktail kind of thing.
Ooh,
So that
yes.
might be kind of fun.
Oh,
Or,
yeah.
find a YouTube video where you could do it. Maybe she could have her friends come over,
Oh,
like a
yes.
little party, something like that. If you think it's the creativity, or knitting is super cool right now.
I need to learn. I've been saying that for like 3 years.
I would love to learn. I have actually in my pile of junk back here that I'm blurring out. I have a ball of like this really soft, thick. I don't even know if it's technically yarn, but the kids and I are going to try to learn finger knitting, and I have
Ooh,
not. I used to know how to do it, and I have completely lost. I don't remember how to do it. I have tried watching videos, so I'm going to have somebody actually sit down with me and like move it around.
yes.
But so we were going to try to do that. But like knitting, crochet is actually very cool. So that
I
might be
bet.
something, maybe transitioning if it's just to a different artistic hobby. And there's tons of stuff you can do with that. And there's people that do interesting characters and all kinds of neat stuff. So
Yeah,
that
I
could be
did.
fun too.
Yeah, I did get little Star Wars and Harry Potter like knitting kits where you can make like the
Oh,
little.
yes.
So I
Yeah.
bought those forever ago, but I tried to watch YouTube videos and I was like I actually need somebody to move my hands for me. Like I couldn't figure it
I don't
out.
have the coordination, or at least being able to, like, I'm definitely a kinesthetic learner. So I
Yep.
would have to have somebody physically doing it with me and like, nope, go that
Yep.
way. You know.
Yeah, I have a friend that she's really good at knitting. She knits all the time. It's just trying to make time for her to come over.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I could
Well,
ask Addie.
maybe
I could
if
ask
you were
Addie,
doing
like, are
like a
you
mom
interested?
daughter night, you could schedule it ahead of time.
Yeah,
That would
yeah, I'll
be
have to
fun, I
ask her.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
see if she wants to
the
knit.
nice thing is then you've got a physical thing that she's made that she
Yes.
can imagine with.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say my daughter's learning how to sew, and she likes to pretend like she's on Little House on the Prairie, but she's 5. So,
Oh,
but she even the act of sewing is kind of an imaginative thing for her. So, you
yes.
know,
Yes. These are all such great ideas. I'm gonna have to watch this through myself again so I can take notes.
it's really, I mean, following, and that's kind of been our motto with homeschool is every quarter I figure out kind of the goals where they need to be as far as education, but I try to figure out how can I take their interests and kind of follow that in a way that can help them with handwriting or whatever the things are that they really need to put extra
Yeah.
focus in. And I think there's a way to use your imagination in anything. Math is something that people tend to kind of make really dry, but there's so much with math that you can use your imagination. There's art you can do with math. There's I mean, without math we don't have the concept of infinity, so things like that. I mean, if you're using your imagination, anything can be exciting and fun. And I think sometimes that's the neat thing about being a mom is you've kind of let that muscle get atrophied. And then once
Yeah.
you have kids, you're sort of forced out of that, like, oh, okay, I'm a pony now. I'm a unicorn. Okay, what does a
Well,
unicorn do? So, but when they get older, they start to, and so you do have to be a little bit creative, but definitely if they have an existing interest, latch onto that in some way, and they'll have enough fun to where even if it's not cool, over time, they won't care anymore
right.
if their friends are interested in it because they really like whatever it is. So
Yeah.
or they can do it in the privacy of their room.
Right. Yeah.
And not tell anybody, but they still enjoy their drawing or their stories that they write or whatever. But I think the nice thing is I think it's getting easier with social media to where you can find your niche group of people. But maybe like when we were growing up, a lot of that was pretty new. So things were still sort of homogenous as far as this is cool, this is nerdy, this is weird. Whereas now you can find, well, I'm into this very niche interest, or, like something like cosplay, which, at our age, as teenagers, we wouldn't have been caught dead wearing costumes
Right.
to a movie. Or if you did, you were a very specific group of people going to see a very specific kind of movie. Now there's cosplayers for all kinds of things, and they're adults of all ages. And so you could find that niche and go, oh, maybe that isn't so babyish. So, it might be. And I mean, you do have to be careful with communities online and just letting them run free. But if you can find, like I said, YouTube is a really neat way. You can preview the videos, make sure that the community is safe and healthy, but they can see, well, this person is super into this and they're not unusual or strange or uncool or whatever. So it can be, the internet can be a really difficult place for teens, but it can be really, really helpful when it's utilized. And I think learning how to use the internet safely is, an important skill anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we use it a lot in our homeschool.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this has been really good conversation, really good brainstorming. So I hope that anybody else that listens to this and
I'll have to write one again once I have all teenagers and see if
yeah.
I was even remotely close. We'll see.
Well, my daughter can be a test subject for these ideas. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your night
Thank you for having
away
me.
from your family. Yes. And then for everybody that's watching this, we are going to include the link for Lisa's post, also for the author profiles. So you can check out all her other good posts, really good things for stuff all around Louisville.
And leave all
for
their ideas in
homeschooling.
the comments too.
Oh, yes.
Because everybody has different kinds of kids. So you might have something really interesting that didn't even cross our minds.
Yes,
So
I love that. Yeah. And then maybe we'll just turn this into one whole resource on ideas for
Exactly.
every age level and yes, personality. Yeah, it'd be fun. So yes, definitely comment below. Wonderful. Well, yeah, we will definitely have to chat with you another time soon about your post. But yeah, this was wonderful. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Lisa, for spending time with us. All right, we'll catch you guys next time.